Welcome to Love Being American, where you can catch up on the major events and political issues that are happening around the country. Now introducing two millennials who love being American. Your hosts, Andrew and Henry.
All right. Who's ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready too. I'm Henry.
I'm Andrew.
We love being American.
So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for our fourth episode. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the COP21 and the recent mass shooting that was in San Bernardino, California. So we're going to be getting into a little about gun control and terrorism and what can and can't be done. But as always, we're going to start off today's episode on a little lighter note.
And for that lighter note, we have, of course, our beer of the week. And this is actually... This is not your father's root beer. This is the beer of a week. Technically, this is a beer flavored with spices. They like to think of it as a dark spiced ale with vanilla and honey notes. They say it's surprisingly for a beer best served over in a glass over ice.
Yeah, which is kind of strange for
I
a
would
beer.
love to put this in a root beer float.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
really good.
This is delicious. I mean, honestly, this is bringing back... It actually says unique ingredients with an unmistakable taste of nostalgia. This reminds me of when I used to go bike riding with my dad in Newport. We used to get IBC root beers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I literally think this is what he was drinking because he always got something different than me. But he said it was root beer.
Yeah, he was definitely drinking this. It's really good. If you haven't tried it yet, I definitely recommend picking it up. If we had ice, we'd try it over ice because I bet you it's pretty good.
I bet it's good, dude. This is delicious. You almost don't... This is dangerous.
Yeah.
You could drink a lot of this.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I wonder what kind of headache it'd give you in the morning, though,
Right?
if you drink
How much
the whole
sugar?
six-pack.
How much sugar's in this?
Small Town Brewery, we want to know. Can we drink a whole six-pack and not be hungover? Let us know. But it's really good. Props on making this beer.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely going to get this again. We've been looking to try this for a while.
Yeah, and we finally found it at a weird 7-Eleven.
At a 7-Eleven. I couldn't find a supermarket on the way over here. And I'm searching. And then next thing I know, I'm at 7-Eleven looking at Sierra Nevada and Stone IPA. And I'm just like, I don't know if that's what I want. And then top right corner, that's where they hid the good stuff. So like we said, to start off, we're going to be talking about the COP21 conference. And it's a worldwide conference with a cooperation of over 190 countries in discussing, the phenomena of global warming and trying to curb pollution that is increasing the global temperature. Right now, we're having a lot of, in recent years, we've had a lot of kind of super phenomena as far as natural disasters. And I believe that these the governments around the world, they're trying to protect their people. They don't want this to happen. So what they've done is in France,
In Paris,
France, they have about 50,000 participants and over 25,000 official delegates.
Yeah, exactly.
That are discussing this. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
Al Gore's there.
Oh, no surprise that Al
No
Gore
surprise,
is there.
Al Gore's there.
Yeah,
You know it's a big deal.
he
When
wanted
was
to
the last-
put this
This was his deal.
the first time I remember hearing anything about climate change was Al Gore's documentary, right? I feel like that almost introduced climate change.
That
to the
put it
world.
on the map. Like, nobody really was concerned or probably was discussing. I'm sure there's environmental scientists that were absolutely discussing it, but it made its way into mainstream.
Yeah. Oh, An Inconvenient Truth. That's what it was called.
An Inconvenient Truth.
Yeah, which he made inconveniently a lot of money off of.
When did he... Did he win the Nobel Peace Prize for that?
I think he won.
Or was that for discovering the internet?
I think it was for discovery of the internet. No, I think he won the Nobel Peace Prize for that. But I remember, right after Al Gore put that out, global warming was like a line split down the middle. It was Republicans like, that doesn't exist. Democrats like, it exists. It was almost like overnight, like politicized.
Yeah. I mean, the polar ice caps were going to melt the next day.
Yeah.
That's how drastic it was right after this came out.
Yeah, and luckily we know how to swim, so everyone in the middle states of the country, you guys better get your floaties.
Right? Take some swim lessons.
But yeah, so that was interesting. And now we have COP21, which is coming like right after the Paris attacks. So all these world leaders are getting together not to talk about terrorism or another threat, but they apparently are thinking,
climate change is a bigger
deal than terrorism. What's interesting to me though is the Earth has always gone through phases of warming up and cooling down.
Right, and I don't necessarily think. I mean, obviously the world is warming up. That is a fact. It is on the upper end now. Are we contributing to this entirely? No.
Yeah, but I don't think we're the sole. I don't think that you can say we're the sole factors why the Earth is heating up.
No,
because it's heated up so many times before.
Absolutely, and I don't think that. I do think that we have something to do with it. I mean, we clearly are influencing the environment. We're adding things. 7 billion people.
We're taking away things. Trees,
we're taking away.
animals.
Is you poke something into the world, something's got to come out the other end, and so we are adding. Pollution does add It does cutting down trees. I mean, there's only like 2 real rainforests that are intact left. Cutting trees, that's what produces oxygen. That's what gives us oxygen. So to say that we have no responsibility in the world's heating up, I think that would be a little naive. But to say it's entirely, maybe I believe it's a combination. Yeah. Now, how big of an influence we are, maybe that's what they're discussing.
Yeah, and I think what makes everyone nervous is, the world heating up or cooling down. When it happened before, it's happened many times, there wasn't that big of an impact, right? Because there weren't cities built next to water. I mean, look at New York City. The water's right there. We live in California, San Francisco.
How many, you go to Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, Huntington.
You go anywhere around so many places around the world.
Anywhere on the coast.
4 or 5 foot rise in the sea level is going to have a huge...
Miami.
Yeah, devastating impact on that.
Absolutely.
Whereas before when this happened, it was like, whatever, we're just losing land. Let's go back,
Let's go to the hills.
Yeah, let's just go to the hills. Round up the troops, round up the horses.
Just got to get a little bit of a hike. Honestly, people didn't even used to live by the beach. It wasn't the happening spot to live. Other than big port cities. Port cities would. But people to live inland, I believe, historically has been more of the thing to do.
If I was a Native American or an Indian, I'd be a beach Native American.
Oh, absolutely.
Start my own tribe. The water horses.
The water.
But, yeah, so, the thing is with this is what we're trying to wrap our head around is this like one big show? Or is this like actually worth it and change is going to be brought because of this? Or is this just a bunch of political world leaders getting together, shaking hands, taking pictures,
saving face?
Yeah, exactly. And just being like, oh yeah, we're trying to do something. And then they all go back to doing nothing about it.
What year did this start? Was it in the 90s? 92, I believe.
Yeah,
92. 1992 is when this started. And we're in 2015. So this has been going on for about 23 years. Now, we still to this day have not come up, I guess what they're trying to do here in Paris, the goal is to create a legally binding worldwide agreement on emissions control.
And here's the thing I love about this. Oh, legally binding. Like, who the hell is going to hold another country responsible? So, like, if we bind China to only
we're gonna fine
putting
them?
Out this much. What are we gonna do? Fine them? Go to war? Like, it doesn't
all right,
make any
China,
sense.
you gotta send us your president. If your your president has to resign if you don't curtail your emissions.
Seriously.
Okay. Yes. I'm gonna.
India, if you don't cut that out, we'll take away all your cows. We're being serious.
We're not.
We'll make.
We're not messing around.
We're
gonna make hamburgers out of your cows. We need extra around here. We don't have enough here in the United States. So.
Cut your emissions down.
Yeah.
And you know what? Speaking of cows, India's cows, don't they put because they don't kill any of them,
don't
but
kill
there's
them.
So many. When they poop or whatever, right?
Yeah, they're living
like all the manure, it's
all
letting
the manure.
all the chemicals and destroying
putting
our
a hole in the ozone.
Cow shit is destroying our ozone. I think maybe
Wait, is this,
No, speaking of India, India's got 15 of the 20 worst
and
methane
there's
cloud over
a
India.
whole methane, it's eating at the ozone. So at least we're killing them. Now, India,
Sorry, vegetarians.
sorry, nah, I'm not. So, but India, they don't kill. I mean, they're holy animals, in the reincarnation cycle. Them, horses, lions, probably tigers. Those are all holy, sacred animals. So you don't mess with those. But to put it into perspective, I mean, the World Health Organization. I'm not sure of the measuring unit, so I'm just going to say units to make it simple. But the World Health Organization has a guideline for this pollution to be about 10 units per meter cubed of pollution particles. Delhi has 153 units per meter cubed. They have over 15 times the safe level recommended by the World Health Organization, which is still 3 times. And we hear about Beijing just shut down.
Yeah. So
factories, they told their children not to go to school because they were having pollution problems. And they're 3 times less than what Delhi has.
Yeah. So this is crazy. So Beijing, which is again 3 times less than what
That's
Delhi
in the media.
has.
Everybody thinks of Beijing. I thought for sure Beijing's not even in the top 20.
Yeah, Beijing. No city in China is even in the top 20, and China's known for having the most polluted cities. Who's in the top 10 is India, Pakistan, and Iran. So those are the top 3. Beijing earlier in the week, they had to order hundreds of factories to shut down. They allowed children to not go to school because the smog level had reached 20 times the safe levels on Tuesday. And on Tuesday of this week, airlines had to cancel flights. It was so bad because they didn't want to add any more pollution to it. And I mean that's crazy. I don't think living in America you can really comprehend how bad that is.
I mean, we're a little bit of ways. We're about 40 miles outside of LA.
Yeah.
So like from my parents' house, they have a nice house on top of a hill that overlooks on a clear day after rain, when the smog is gone, I can see the Hollywood sign. On a bad day, you just see a cloud over. And I'm guessing that is an acceptable by the World Health Organization measurements, an acceptable smog or pollution level. And it looks bad. It still looks bad.
So Delhi's 153. LA, that's on average year round. So LA is 20.
20.
And Delhi's 153. And then the most...
7 times worse. When I see that on the worst of days of smog in LA, when I see that...
7 times
worse.
It's
7 times worse than that.
Yeah. And then to put it even more perspective, the most polluted city in the country is Fresno, California.
States?
Yeah, in the United States.
Fresno? It's farmland. Is that all the cows?
No, I don't know what that is. But yeah, it's all the farmland. I know they have like Code Purple days or something that's called, where they have to shut down schools or you can't go outside. In Fresno, the worst place in the country is 18. 18 to 22 on average. So it's a little bit above LA, but usually it hovers around 18, which is pretty high for a day to day.
That's about twice the level of what is recommended.
Yeah. So, and then the cleanest city in the country, in case you're wondering, is Minnesota.
Minnesota, eh?
Yeah. So
cleanest state, eh?
So I mean, it's pretty crazy how polluted some of these cities are. And when we talk about climate change and the COP20, it really seems like, in a sense, the U.S. and some European countries were going through great lengths to try to clean up our air.
I do remember my dad was telling me that you used to, from the Southern California, it was rare to see for more than a week a year Catalina Island. And now you can see, honestly, you see it
every day.
I wouldn't say every day, but you see it at least a couple times a week.
Yeah.
At some point during the day. So there is stuff being done in the United States, but the 2 biggest populations in the world, India and China, which make up, what, a third of the world's population?
Yeah. I mean,
a third of the population, don't really adhere to and don't really seem to be making any strides to
Yeah, so China basically made a pledge that their emissions would peak by 2030, and then they'd start to try to reel them
In
in.
2030. So in 15 years.
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, we're going to cut them down. So what I don't get is, we're having this conference, whatever, but I feel like none of it at all makes any difference.
Has no merit.
Yeah,
nothing's been getting done for 23 years.
Yeah, and now you have China saying for another 15 years they're going to pollute as much as they want, and then they'll reel it back in. Like how much?
Then how do you expect Delhi or India to do anything if China's not going to do anything?
Yeah,
if we're not going to
anything.
force China to do anything, why would India be like, oh, okay, we're going to listen?
Yeah, or Pakistan.
Or Pakistan.
Or Iran. Yeah, they're not going to listen.
Iran doesn't listen to us. Why would they, with anything? Why are they going to start with pollution? That's the least of their concerns.
Yeah, meanwhile, the U.S. wants to look all high and mighty. And don't get me wrong, I think, we have to live with the earth and keep
We
it
have
clean.
to. We live on this planet. We need to take care of it for not only us, but the next generation.
Yeah, and the future generations to come. But what makes me upset is, we're going through great lengths here at the U.S. to clean everything up. We're trying to electric cars, we're trying to do all this stuff. And some of it comes at an economic cost, like burning coal is getting taxed. We have crazy gas taxes in California. We almost pay $1 gas tax. And we're making all these cuts, and the American people in the middle class are taking a hit because of these,
We get fined for our water usage. We're in a drought.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the the excess temperature that has been hovering over the world.
So we take a hit. Meanwhile, China gets in New Delhi, in India, they get to, grow their economies at will, not care about the environment, while the middle class in America takes a burden. And
that's why business goes there, is because the regulations that are imposed there are limited or none.
Yeah.
At least compared to here. Businesses leave California because we try very hard to make sure that, we try to be as clean as possible. Mm-hmm. We try to take care of our environment.
Yeah, we try to
earth.
lead the world by example in California.
Right.
And trust me,
and then
we know it because we're freaking paying for it.
We pay for all this stuff. Yeah. And I'm not saying that we should go the opposite just because China and India says like, oh, we're going to give us 15 years and we'll figure it out. Let's hope fusion comes out by then.
Yeah.
It just seems contradictory that we're going to have this was over 50,000 participants. We have 50,000 people in Paris discussing climate change. And unfortunately, that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Is they've been talking about this for over 20 years and nothing's getting done. You're not going to create a legally binding agreement when a third of the world's population isn't going to listen.
Yeah. And you know what's going to happen? You know what I see happening is America, we're going to lead this, right? We're going to come up with new technology, like, Tesla's coming out better battery storage, solar. We're going to come out with all this awesome renewable energy because that's what we do. We're America. We innovate. We're the best. And then China's going to come, see it all, and then rip it all off and make a whole...
Absolutely.
They're going to rip off everything.
Like they do. They have no respect for patent laws.
No. Then they're going to come in and they're going to hack our computers and hack our businesses.
That's what they're waiting
rip
for.
Off everything. And we're not going to be able to make any money off of...
That's why they're waiting for 2030. The next 15 years. We're going to come up with some
America
good stuff.
will figure it out. Then we'll take their stuff. Why waste money on it? Let's just keep doing what we're doing.
Let's keep growing.
So it's unfortunate. And I feel like there's more important things right now in the world to talk about than... getting together about climate change. Yeah, it's good you're having a discussion, but I think actions speak louder than words, and this is
why.
These
why
are
don't we
words.
have 50,000 people discussing, the terrorism problem?
Yeah, why aren't we talking about terrorists, ISIS, Russia invading Ukraine, China trying to claim territory in the south,
just kind of flex muscle and push. There's so many bigger problems
that are going to happen sooner.
That are right across, that could happen the next day. We don't know, but
climate change, that's a long ways out.
It's climate change. It's the climate, it's a gradual progress that we have to monitor and that we have to watch.
Yeah. And is there anything we could actually do to stop it? And if you believe Mother Earth is it's majestic and it's great, no. Ultimately the climate's going to change. If we look at history, it's going to get warm and then it's going to get really cold again.
There was an ice age. We were in an ice age at one point.
There's been several ice ages.
So between now and an ice age, think about the temperature average difference. Okay? It's tremendous. So if that has happened by itself, I'm pretty sure there wasn't pollution in the last ice age.
No.
Could be wrong. Pretty sure there wasn't. And then now we're worrying about the world being too hot. So obviously the mother nature is going to do its own thing.
Yeah.
But let's try to control what Putin does or the president of China does.
Temporarily, yeah.
Temporarily, those guys tomorrow can make a
climate change isn't going to get to them. If they want to attack us, we got to stop them.
Right?
If there's evil in the world, we got to do it. We can't be like, I hope climate change kills ISIS. I hope it freezes and gets really cold there.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the solution.
Well, people say climate change, the Earth heating up has caused ISIS because it's caused all the farmland to dry up, the lack of jobs. ISIS has money to provide for jobs, but I think that's a whole different conversation.
We're getting really off board with that.
But
we're stretching it.
So, I don't know. My opinion is on this whole climate thing that it's just it's just like schmoozing. Everyone's doing it for show. I think there's
more pressing issues in the world that need to be dealt with right now.
Yeah.
Than climate change.
Yeah, and if you look at the world leaders, they're taking pictures, shaking hands.
Let us try to bring peace to Middle East before we do climate change. Maybe if we put all the effort we did into discussing climate change, into solving Middle Eastern problems, which seem to be the root of the world's issues.
Yeah.
Or, why don't we take care of our own country in some regards as far as education and healthcare, that's affecting us. Why don't we just spend these 50,000 participants? Why don't we help do some things like that?
And world hunger.
And world hunger.
I mean,
is that not a big enough issue? I don't know the stats, but I'm sure there's a lot more people being affected by world hunger than pollution.
Well, you can make the argument that climate change causes hunger, but whatever. I don't even.
No, dude, we have so much technology now. We can grow anything out of anywhere.
Yeah, that's
we can catch water out of plastic. There's these big 50-gallon things in Kenya you can store that catches water out of the air.
Yeah.
That can store 50 gallons of water. Why don't we put a bunch of those out in the world where there's water droughts and stuff like that?
Yeah, you had Akon who brought did you see that? Akon, for those of you who don't know.
I know 50 Cent's all about ending world hunger. He wants to feed 1 billion people.
Yeah, well, too bad he just filed for bankruptcy, so he might have to start over. But Akon, he's a rapper. We'll link one of his songs in the show notes. I'll put my favorite in there. And he just brought a bunch of power to 10,000 Africans in Africa. Because he put his money towards installing some simple solar panel system. He brought light and electricity there.
I absolutely know
what the heck? If Akon can do it, why can't America do it?
Right? Akon, one person was able to do that. What have we done with 50,000 people in Paris at this COP21 conference?
Shook hands and took pictures. And you look at the Chinese
selfies
president.
For days.
Yeah, the Chinese president's in all these photos, smiling, looks like he's having a good time. In his mind, he's thinking, I'm just here for photo shoots. I'm not going to do shit that you tell me.
Jack.
We're going to keep growing our economy, and we're going to pollute the world because he's going to be dead and gone by the time anything happens. And, in my opinion, he doesn't care. So, there's obviously more pressing issues in the world. I think it's kind of a distraction from what's really going on. And I think that, only the elite in the political process are the ones who, ultimately really.
It's a show.
Yeah, it's a show.
It's a show. It's a circus, honestly, in my opinion. But my opinion is irrelevant.
So, shifting topics, we're going to go and we're going to talk about the San Bernardino mass shooting that happened, it was a terrorist attack. It just came out this morning that, for those of you who haven't heard, which if you haven't, you live under a rock, there was a mass shooting in San Bernardino that left 14 people dead and 21 wounded. And it was from two people who carried this attack out, a husband and a wife, and they left.
There was 3.
No. It ended up only being 2.
They just made some name up?
I don't know what happened with that.
Syed Fakouk or whatever?
Yeah, it was,
They said there was a third. They killed the first 2.
It was him and his wife, and then, no, they haven't talked about a third person in 2 days. And I've been watching the news and following this story closely, and they haven't really said like
What was
what
that
happened to
about?
the
I saw
third.
that on the news. Yeah, there was a third
'cause-
person.
So they thought there was a third person because they saw a person hop into this one guy saw someone jump a fence and run into a backyard. But now they went back and looked at it and they're like, it was probably just a police officer.
Or somebody fleeing the scene.
Yeah, or
Somebody
someone-
running for safety.
Yeah, and basically, no, because you saw a person in camo jumping into a backyard, but they're saying it was probably a police officer.
Okay.
Like a tactical police officer getting better position or something. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, it was two people, and basically what they did was the main shooter was a government employee, and he walked into his holiday Christmas party and killed a bunch of people. So at first everyone was like, "Oh, it's a mass shooting." You know,
Right.
everyone thought it was,
Disgruntled
America,
employee.
disgruntled employee, another mass shooting. A lot of people thought that when I was watching this and following it on Twitter. I was like, "There's no way," because what disgruntled employee brings a few people with him and has like assault rifles, masks, and
His
body
wife's not
armor.
going to join in with them. I mean, this guy was strapped and ready and loaded to go. They found thousands of rounds of ammunition in his home.
I mean, if you think about it, his wife had a 6-month-old baby. What wife is going to leave behind their first child together to go?
Join their husband on a
Yeah, because he's
disgruntled
gonna go. Yeah,
brigade.
because his boss made fun of him or something. That's not going to happen. And it turns out that the police were able to confirm that the female shooter had pledged allegiance to ISIS, and I believe she's from Saudi Arabia.
Well, they recently made a trip in the past 6 months to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I guess he made a trip to Saudi Arabia
He did?
and came home with his wife,
Oh,
is what one of the employees said. So he went there, and then when he came back, he had a wife. So
you
they
know
like
you can
teamed
come
up
back
together.
with like 3 wives.
Yeah, I'm
if you
sure
go to
you-
like Iran and stuff, you can have like 3 wives.
I heard you could have 3 wives in Utah too.
You can have more than 3 in Utah.
Oh, I'm sure you could have plenty. So that's what's happened, and this was a terrorist attack. You could say it's something similar to Paris or not, but this is definitely a terrorist attack. Anyone who doesn't, and by terror, because I know some people are like, well, what happened in Colorado? There's a shooting in Colorado, or
Terror could be a very vague.
this is terror. What I mean by this is this was an Islamic extremist attack. All right, this was like basically, this is what most people think terrorism is. Is how we
Right.
define 9/11 terrorism. This is the same thing. So this is a pretty 14 people dead. That's a huge number, and this is a
Right.
pretty big terrorist attack that happened in San Bernardino, which is not far from where we are here in South Orange County. And I mean, it's pretty sad, but what ultimately this is, it's interesting because when this happened in Paris, everyone's like, the talk shifted to, what are we going to do about ISIS? When this happened here, it's shifted
What are we
to,
going to do about guns?
what are we going to do about gun control?
The two different, very similar. I mean, honestly, in Paris, not to diminish what happened in San Bernardino, but what happened in Paris was
Yeah,
a
higher
lot bigger.
casualty count.
Higher casualty count.
Multiple
Targets. Multiple, it was like 5 or 6 simultaneous attacks. So now we have one attack here and we're discussing gun control. And it happens in California, which has the strictest gun control laws in the country.
Yeah, so there's like a chart and it gives states ratings and on how strict their gun control laws are. A being the best, F being the worst, and California has an A-, which is the highest rating because there's no place in the country that has an A. And here's a little overview of California gun control. If you're a gun owner in California, you must pass a universal background check no matter what gun you buy. Wait at least 10 days to receive that gun. And then you have to get your handgun micro stamped, which means the model and serial number from that gun is transferred to each cartridge case every time the gun is fired. So this helps police track down crimes.
Mm-hmm.
So they can go, they look at the cartridge, there's a stamp on the cartridge, they run it through the database,
Right.
and then they're able to find the shooter. Interesting fact, that is the biggest fail in gun control ever, because it takes time to
to look and
to
document
look at the
to-
bullet, to document it. So there's 50,000 bullet casings that have never been looked up in a freaking storage bin somewhere. I heard that this is just like the most horrendous waste of money because it's so hard to do. The systems are slow.
Like, what are you going to do? You're going to take the
it.
cartridge, go back to the sheriff's department, look it up, and try to go back onto the scene?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess you could radio it in.
Yeah, but I guess like the system where, you can look up all the guns and to go through it, I guess it's like slow and outdated. Nobody can use it. It's not really that accurate. So
if you're dealing with like an on the scene attack and shooting, you don't have time to deal with that.
Well, I mean, if you have it after and you're finding casings, right? You bring the case, put the casing in a bag, and then bring it back to the lab.
You're looking for a murder that's happened.
Type it in, but I guess like there's deficiencies with the software with looking it up, which is no surprise. It's the government, and you also must take and pass a written safety test. Here's what you can't do: own most assault weapons, buy or sell large capacity ammunition or magazines, or 50 caliber rifles. So in California, you're not allowed to have a magazine clip that holds more than 10 bullets. You can't buy your gun through a private sale, like online via friend, without first going through a licensed dealer. I can tell you, I personally know that doesn't happen like all the time. I know people buying guns from friends. And
or you just go to Arizona. You go to drive to a couple hours to the other side of the border and you have fair game.
Yeah, or buy more than one handgun a month. So California has some of the strictest gun laws in the country, yet this mass shooting was still able to happen. And some of these guns that were used in this mass shooting were purchased legally.
It was an AR-15?
Yeah.
223 caliber?
Yeah, it was 2 AR-15s were used in there, and then a couple types of pistols. And the AR-15s were purchased legally, but then they were modded illegally after. So after they
it's
purchased
not
them,
difficult to modify one of these guns for automatic capabilities.
Yeah, so they modified the guns and
you can YouTube it.
Yeah, and were able to basically make it so they could shoot, as fast as it wanted to. They could be an automatic weapon. So I guess the main thing is, what's going to be done? What do you think? What's your opinion on gun control?
Well,
what should we do to stop?
Let's just say what we seem to be doing. I don't necessarily have an answer. I have my own opinion, but let me see what we are doing. So let's just go back in the past, 20, 30 years. We have seen an increase in mass shootings, particularly under the Obama administration. And under the Obama administration, there's been 162 mass murders between 2009 and 2015. And this is, at this point, we've had the strictest gun controls ever in history. And if we go back to the Ronald Reagan administration, there was 11 mass shootings. I don't know exactly what the gun control laws were across state to state back then, but I guarantee you they were a lot looser than they are now.
Yeah, and just to clarify real quick, a mass shooting for this study that we're reading is considered 4 or more people shot during an incident. So George H.W. Bush had 12 mass shootings. Bill Clinton had 23 mass shootings. W had 20, and Obama had 162.
I think that number's shocking. That's
a huge jump.
That's 8 times under George Bush. And I mean, the only thing that I can think, I mean, honestly, this is the problem. It's Democrats. We're hiring we have Democrats in office. We have Bill Clinton with 23 mass murders and Barack Obama with 162. That's more than everybody else.
Yeah, that's more than the Republicans.
We got to stop
what are you doing,
electing Democrats.
Yeah, you want to stop. According to this poll, you want to stop mass shootings, stop electing Democrats.
No, but in all seriousness, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a Democratic or Republican problem. It's more of a societal problem, and it's been a growing issue. Could it be possible that with stricter gun control laws, that making it harder to buy a gun and to access guns, that you're allowing a very finite population who wants to go on these sprees? Those are the people that are going to want to have the guns. If you made it easier for people who don't care to do that to get guns, would that possibly make it so that more people are carrying guns, that more people feel threatened?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to commit a crime, right?
You're gonna do it.
You're gonna do it.
You can make guns completely illegal, and the criminals will fight. Well, by definition, anybody that buys a gun at that point will be a criminal.
Yeah.
But a criminal, if you want a gun, you're gonna get it. It's
Yeah.
like drugs. We have all these laws on drugs. People still get them.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting here is, this jump in mass shootings, 162. I mean, this is a huge
That's not. There's something different going on for that to occur.
Because, okay, have guns gone more deadly? No. The AR-15 that was used in this shooting has been around since 1953. The like earliest version of it. It hasn't gone any more deadly. Magazine clips haven't gone any bigger.
We made them smaller.
Yeah, we made them smaller in California. Gun access, for the most part, hasn't gone any easier. So, it's really interesting that all of a sudden we have a spike. And personally, two things, I think, in my personal opinion, are playing a role in this. The first thing is, one is, I think part of these 162 mass murders, I think have gang crime, the increase in gang crime, especially what's going on in Chicago. They have the worst murder rates in the whole entire country. And I bet you a lot of these mass shootings
Do we have
come
more?
from there.
I would say that usually could be wrong, don't know the numbers, but there's a higher crime rate with a bigger poor population.
Yeah,
right?
there is.
So maybe it's because of the recession and economic troubles, we're seeing a larger group of poverty, and in doing so crime increases, and maybe that's why gangs are getting bigger, and maybe there's more shootings, more drive-bys. I mean, I guess technically a mass murder would be if there's 10 people on the street and if you're doing a drive-by in your gang and you shoot and you kill 4, technically that's a mass murder.
Yeah. Or if you just hit 4 people, they don't have to be deaths. It just needs.
They don't even have to be deaths.
Yeah, it's 4 casualties. So
how do you think we've changed the reportings of this? I mean, are we simply?
I bet you the reportings are sketchy and have been changed.
Are we reporting this more often than we did before?
Yeah,
I mean,
think so.
That would be honestly, I think this is a media thing. I don't think this. I mean, you could do statistics on it. This is several standard deviations off what it's been. So something is wrong, and it's. I would guess, quoting Mark Twain, there are lies, there are damn lies, and then there's statistics. I think these things are fudged to a certain degree. The media today, we have so much more media, and we're reporting this, it can go viral in a second. Yeah. Whereas 30 years ago, we didn't have nearly the media infrastructure that we do today.
Yeah, and I honestly think, this act that happened in San Bernardino, this is separate. This is terrorism. This rolls into what should be done about ISIS and terrorists. We're kind of talking about, mass shootings in general here, but I think that the media does play a role in this because they want people to.
It's news. People are going to watch it.
It's news.
Ratings.
And I think
selling
more
ratings.
People are hearing about this, and you have psychos who want to make the evening news. For example, and I wrote a blog post about this that's called Stop Glorifying the Shooter that you can read on our website. And do you remember the reporters that got killed by the disgruntled employee? It was a few months ago. So I forgot that guy's name, which is perfect because I don't think his name deserves to be mentioned. But he went and killed those reporters over a workplace incident, and he had a GoPro or a camcorder strapped to him to record the shootings, right? Well, the only reason he did that was to get hype and get attention, and he went and uploaded it to YouTube.
It's a
before
celebrity.
He was killed.
There's this celebrity
There's
thing.
A celebrity
Everybody wants to be
it.
famous. They feel like they're not accepted by society, so they're going to put their name out there, and all the other sick.
Yeah, this Santa Barbara killer, he did it as well. I mean, I think that the media plays a role in this because they glorify these shooters so much.
These shooters, these mass murderers have this ego complex.
Yeah.
And they think that there's something special when really they're just degenerate pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, these are just disturbed people. And honestly, there's probably a lot of mental illness going on. But by glorifying this, by having the media continuously in this 24-hour news cycle, giving them their moment of fame.
Yeah.
We are encouraging this bad behavior.
That's what they want.
We are encouraging this bad behavior.
We don't
You
focus
didn't have
on
the
the
opportunity.
victims.
No. Who died? Who died in this shooting? 14 people. That's who died.
Yeah, and
Okay?
I can't name one of their names, but
Don't
I can
know.
name the shooter's name, which I'm not going to.
No, absolutely not.
We purposely, we'll talk about this in the future, we're not going to talk about the shooters' names because they don't deserve to be mentioned, no matter who they are. I mean, there's a right, you should know who they are, but I rather talk about the people who lost their lives and what they're trying
their
to work
families
for,
and what
their
they have
family.
to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of those people had children. They had moms, they had dads.
There's
uncles.
a guy with, I think he had 6 or 8 kids who was killed in the shooting, and he passed away. And in our show notes, we're going to have a link to a fund where you can donate to his family too.
That's good. That's great.
I mean, I honestly think that part of the mass shootings that are happening, I mean, yes, there's easy gun control solutions that we can fix. Obama said that people who are on the no-fly list, which there are problems with the no-fly list, can't buy a gun. But that's probably a good idea. Like, there's some pretty common sense gun laws
That seems common sense.
that we can pass. But
I don't think you need honestly, I don't think anybody really needs an automatic rifle.
Yeah, fully
A
automatic.
fully automatic rifle.
Here's the thing, that for those of you who don't get this, a lot of people who are like, let's ban guns, don't get this.
Entirely.
The second amendment is to protect you from the government in case the government tries to, have a dictatorship and completely control your lives. And some people are like, oh, that'll never happen. Da da da. History will prove you wrong every single time.
Rome was a republic, and what had happened? Some guy, Caesar, became a dictator.
So, I mean, that's ultimately what the Second Amendment is
Republic.
Yeah, and that's why, I'm a full supporter of the Second Amendment. Do I think there could be some gun laws that need to be changed? Yes.
I mean, going along that point, it kind of scares me. We see the militarization of the police.
You saw it when you're watching this thing.
Oh
Those
my gosh.
police had Bearcats, crazy armored
What is the difference
vehicles.
between them and the army and the Marines coming in?
No,
Those they are using military equipment rolling into town.
But hey,
Now you go to Europe, they don't have that.
no. But it did help protect those police officers in case there was like an IED
And I think
or something inside
absolutely.
there.
And I am bagging on the militarization of the police, not for what it's the protection, but the potential threat that it can cause. Just because you can't
off.
to leave anything off the table. I mean, we like to think that nothing bad can happen, but there's always possibilities.
Yeah, but at the same time, the police are American citizens, and at the end of the day, if there was a dictatorship overhaul, most of the police and military would obviously side with the people because that's what
they're Americans.
Yeah,
and they love being American.
but we're getting way off topic. But I think everyone's like, what should be done, and everyone talks about this, but really, the only thing that's gonna make the change in America with gun laws is you got to have the money to fight against the NRA, because the NRA's given a lot of money to a lot of politicians to help fund their campaigns who are fighting for more free gun rights, more guns for everyone. So if you really want to make a change, you got to go through the NRA, and they're tough.
They've been at this for years, and they're still around. And they're not going anywhere soon.
No, and they're good. Their marketing's good. I mean, I follow them on Facebook just cause, and I mean, I watch the stuff, and they know what they're doing. And I'm not saying the NRA is bad by any means, but the NRA definitely is an obstacle when trying to pass any new gun legislation that could be effective. I mean, 27 teachers died in Newtown, and that didn't even do anything on a national level. Some things happened within the state, but I'm saying, like, what is it really going to take to actually make
I don't
change?
think that, but the NRA is not the problem. It really isn't. And I think this goes back, if in this particular case,
in this particular case, ISIS and terrorists are the problem.
And like we said earlier, while we're dealing with climate change, we're not dealing with ISIS. We could be spending this time and this effort to dealing with ISIS. That's a different story. There's the loners. It's what do we do about the loners is really the issue. It's not necessarily what do we do about guns. It's what do we do about the freaks and the geeks, the lone shooters who are trying to make their stance in the history. And by giving them a spot in history, we are promoting their behavior. And that's what we need to stop doing.
Yeah, I think one of the first steps to take to see really, is it a gun problem or is it a social problem, is stop glorifying the shooter.
Obviously, if the guy's on the loose, you should put a wanted poster in pictures so people can see him. But after he's dead and gone, they should be discussing the victim. They should be discussing.
They always go and do, what's his manifesto?
He has a manifesto. His apartment was laced with like C4.
What does his room look like? What kind of what kind of car do you drive? They just go over the top.
You gave
and it's like,
them
oh my God.
and every other weirdo an epiphany to go out and keep doing this stuff.
Yeah, I think
they just got a hard on by seeing all this.
And I think if you stopped glorifying the shooter, would these decrease? Because honestly, like I've been saying, guns haven't been any more deadly than they were. Only 11 mass shootings under Ronald Reagan, only 12 under H.W. Bush. So, I mean, the only thing that's changed is really like the perpetuation of the 24-hour news cycle and glorifying these shooters. I mean,
you're giving them a
ever
stage.
Since Columbine, we've been giving these shooters a stage. Because they
fit nowhere else in this world according to their own minds. They don't fit into society, but that's where they feel like they could make a difference in their own demented brain. Yeah. Is that they can be something because they feel loned and left out, and maybe that's a problem of education, and bullying and stuff like that. But my biggest thing is the media and how the media portrays it, and that would be the best way to solve this, or at least limited it. I don't think you're ever going to solve this. You're always going to have an odd individual, but to limit this is you have to limit the media coverage over it.
Yeah, and I agree. And here's how we're going to get that to happen. When next time there's a
stop glorifying the shooter.
And that will help, get the word across that we don't want to hear about these people. So with that, we're going to shift to another note and...
Weekly Pinhead of the Week.
Pinhead of the Week. All right, this is my favorite. So this isn't for all Bernie Sanders supporters. This is just
I like Bernie.
Yeah, I like Bernie too.
I'm a Bernie guy.
Yeah, he's a pretty interesting dude. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but I like his heart.
Yeah. Personality.
Yeah. So I honestly think Bernie loves being an American.
Oh, he did he call you about the show? I think he called me. I got a random number, random text. Pretty sure it was Bernie Sanders.
He wants to be on here.
He wants to be on Love Being America.
We're just waiting.
We got to make time for him. We have a lot of other high profile celebs and politicians that want to get on this show. So we're gonna give him his time eventually. He's got to give us enough calls, and then we'll see if we can fit him in.
Yeah. So my pinhead of the week is, Bernie Sanders, one of his slogans is "Feeling the burn," right? All the Bernie Sanders supporters, they have shirts like "We're feeling the burn," all this stuff, whatever. So there's a new YouTube phenomenon where people are actually showing how much they feel the burn by
that sounds like an STD commercial.
God, I know. It honestly really does. Oh my God.
Preparation age.
Yeah, seriously, it really does. But supporters are demonstrating their support by eating really hot peppers or really hot sauce, and filming themselves doing that, and then feeling the burn essentially, and videotaping their reactions to it. And I've watched a few of these, and I almost feel like stupid for saying that I watched some of them, because they are the dumbest videos I've ever seen.
Like, that doesn't help. Yeah, that doesn't help Bernie. No, I'm sorry. If you want to help Bernie,
campaign,
don't look a fool.
Yeah, don't look like an idiot on YouTube.
Please don't. I mean, you're red. You're sweating balls. Like, come on. Let's be real. I'm all for it. Like, what do you think? This is the ALS bucket challenge? We're going to start eating red pepper. Hey, if that's what gets Bernie elected, maybe that's what you should do. It's not going to make me vote for him.
No. I mean, this is literally the most pointless thing I've ever seen. Like, I don't know. This is just, ridiculous. So, if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter and you're feeling
the burn, maybe you should get some ice and cool that down.
Yeah, and you're eating red peppers, and not even red peppers. You're eating hot peppers, and you're drinking Tabasco sauce. You are definitely our pinhead of the week.
It's going to give you ulcers.
Yeah. Lots of stomach cramps.
IBS.
So with that concludes our 4th episode. Thank you so much for joining us. As usual, we love you being here every week.
Comments, bring them in.
Yeah, comments,
don't
critiques. What should we do more
Absolutely.
of, less of? Let us know. We're still
Any
getting going
comments?
here.
We want to get you on the show. So if you want some airtime, we'll welcome it. We want
Yeah.
to get your opinions. I mean, let's get some intelligent, educated individuals, and let's debate. Let's get some.
And one
Let's get
last
some
thing.
thought.
Thanks for listening to our whole episode. If you leave us a 5-star rating in iTunes, we're going to send you a Love Being American shirt. And it's basically just a white tee. It's got a
Do we got the pockets? We got the pockets? Yes.
with our Love Being American hat on it. And if you leave us a 5-star rating in iTunes, we'll give you a shout out on the next show. And we'll message you and we'll send you a shirt for free.
Did you think of that?
Yeah, thought of that.
Gosh, that's awesome.
I know. So...
I mean, I was thinking of doing something, but that's way better than my thoughts. I'm not even going to tell you what I was
Free
thinking
shirts.
of. That's
Free
free
shirts.
shirts. They're cool shirts too. Honestly,
They are
they're
cool
like
shirts.
you'll want to wear these shirts, especially on 4th of July. Yeah,
Yeah,
at least
or
have
any
it 4th
American
of July,
holiday.
any American holiday.
Well, every day is a holiday in America.
Every day is a holiday in America.
Hey, with that being said, I'm Andrew.
I'm Henry. We love being American.
Have a good night.